Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to this mini guide. Today's guide is about classes. A lot of you have asked, like, hey, what do you recommend me to play, Kranis? I can't recommend you what to play anything because 1, I don't know what you like, 2, I don't know what your playstyle is, and 3, I obviously don't know what your objectives are. That's impossible for me to answer. But given that this is just a bit of an opinion and an experience, it's not absolute. You should go and find out which class you like to play. I'll give you a brief description of which ones can do what or whatever on just like a brief line, and what I find for them to be the most unique in terms of attributes, overall performance. So the first class is Warriors. Warriors is they very, very sturdy class, overall very, very strong, pretty easy skill ceiling. I don't think they're actually too hard to play. I haven't actually played one myself, so that's a bit strange for me to talk about it, but from fighting them itself, most of the time it's, they do a thrusting charge combo. All I know is that I've leveled a warrior to about 45, not to 56, so once you get Scars of Dusk, you just use that to kill everything, and then maybe spinning slash and jump slash, that's it. The other skills you would take with you into Awakening would be Takedown, Thrusting Charge just to catch people. As far as I'm concerned, that's all I see being used upon me. It's about like a rotation of like 5 or 6 attacks. So it's Thrusting Charge, Takedown, and then afterwards the Great Sword when you get it. You also get Gravedigger and Reckless Blow at like 59 order, which is one of the strongest single hitting attacks in the game. That's pretty much it. I call them Scars of Kill Everything, and basically no cooldown, super armor forever class with Vegetable Digger and then Reckless Blow Kill, and that's it. That 3 combo. If you can't kill somebody with that, you probably need more AP. That's about it. They got 46 AP DP increase in combined just from blocking. That's an insane amount. You get 26 attack power and 20 defense power just from blocking with the greatsword. That just like it just turns the tides just from blocking. So one of the weaknesses, I guess, is grapples, which would be Berserkers. Berserkers would probably absolutely destroy Warriors, in my opinion. Berserkers are actually kind of like the king of 1v1 PvP. So Berserkers is next on the list. They have an inherent bonus of 10% stun resistance and 10% knockback floating resistance on top of all the other characters. All characters have 20% base apart from a few classes like the Berserker. Berserker also has a massive HP pool on base compared to the other classes. They can go up to like 4,000 HP or something. It's just a ridiculous amount. And they've got 3 skills that recharge their health. 350 HP like every few seconds or something during the usage, and it grants them either super armor, which could stun everybody in the area. It's a 100% rage skill, or either that the other one's a forward block but still recharges their health unless you interrupt him somehow, and the other one is like another super armor. So it's just ridiculous. And they've got 1 grapple, 2 grapple, 3 grapple, 4 grapples from what I know, 4 or 5 grapples, and they can chain all of those together. So you could, as if you guys saw the Tamer learner battles, you'll notice that there was this one section where my guild member basically CC grabbed me for a good 12 seconds. It was unbelievable. It's just the longest stun ever. And then they've got decent damage as well too, so they've got a lot of CC, and they're basically like huge initiators, and they're good at 1v1 PvP. So Berserker is kind of like an all-around like pretty good class. Also very, it's like a polar opposite in popularity. Either people don't play Berserker or they play it like a massive hardcore crazy, which is interesting. Warriors, I see them from time to time. They are very strong. Ranger is another popular class. The most notable things I know about Ranger is the terms of shotgun and a horizontal slash. That's kind of it. Ranger, you basically a lot of shotgun spamming in your pre-awakening, which is a skill called Ultimate Charging Wind. I've done it before in previous videos as well, and also their awakening gives them a lot of mobility and a lot of burst, even more so, and a miniature grapple that allows that burst to be pulled off. So basically high damage, and then afterwards, once that burst is used, they're kind of down for actually about like 20 seconds or so, and it's the skill called Nature's Tremble, which hits extremely hard. It's a horizontal cut that the Ranger does, and it will hit extremely hard, even at like not that high AP ratio. Sorceress is also another very, very bursty character. He's got like some ranged as well. The ranged isn't really carried over except maybe the stun and the Dream of Doom, which is like the spirit bomb thing that the Sorceress can perform. People use that as a knockdown initiator, and then they've got a lot of invisible iframes, teleport, Dark Crow, for mobility. And then when they get the scythe, they are coined the term of the class called the lawnmower, because they basically spin around everything and just everything dies. And then they also have a dark orb that they can throw out. It's extremely useful in wars or any kind of PvP situation because it literally is a black hole. It sucks people in, and it hits very, very, very hard. And they also have a charging hit that also has a forward block that hits very hard too. So I think what some of the crazy people I've experienced is they throw the black orb out and then they teleport on the other end and they charge up the slash while the thing's dragging you towards their scythe, and they just cut you and you're dead. So that's Sorceress. Heavy high burst, a bit of a glass cannon class with a lot of in between invulnerability animations. As far as that's what I know for Sorceress as well. They also have a huge amount of evasion for some reason. And also the shard burst that they have pre-awakening, it hits really hard too. It's like a bowling ball spirit bomb shot. That brings me to Maehwa and Musa. Musa is more of like an AoE lord. He's got massive harass and huge AoE. Basically a spin to win crosscut madness. They're also extremely hard to catch. Both Musa and the Maehwa classes are very, very hard to catch because of the chase. The only way I've figured out how to deal with them is if you're able to somehow tag a movement speed slow on them. That's a bit of a death sentence for them. That's only if you're able to tag the move speed on them, but because of how fast their character moves, desync is always a huge problem within the game. And I think if there was a lot less desync and a lot less lag during certain times, like during war times, the actual position of where the enemy character is actually a lot more accurate, and it would probably I feel like it feels quite imbalanced because they can chase forever, especially now with WP pots. And when they're in chase, they have super armor, so basically you can never catch them in a stun or anything unless you have somebody who's amazing at grappling people at where they should be on the screen when the server's making weird desync connections. That's a bit of off topic, but Maehwa, on the other hand, has a huge amount of burst. She generally has like a 4-shot combo. Other people at the very top that play Maehwa that destroyed hordes of people simply because of the super armor chase and the Petal Bloom super armor that just like one-shot blow people as well. It's a very strong attack, very strong class in general, and a very agile. I would say the Musa has more flow than the Maehwa, but the Maehwa has more damage burst than the Musa if you're going to choose between the two there. I don't know, there's a lot of witches and there's a lot of wizards. Wizards, clearly you've already seen in my previous videos that they've got a very heavy 100% one-shot. That's one of their signature skills for just wiping people with high amounts of sustain or defense kind of thing. It's basically a wipeout shot. I think without it, they would suffer a lot of damage burst, but that's one of the notable things about wizards is just gigantic meteor from the heavens. Witches, on the other hand, they're more like earth and lightning, I believe. I might be wrong about that. They can send their pet rolling forward, which I've noticed does a huge amount of damage. They both classes have teleports of greater distances. Witches is probably something more preferred in a war because of the block, so you can actually stay alive longer and heal your mates as well, and still do decent massive AoE damage from what I've seen. Wizards, on the other hand, are more of like an offense because they can grab. Grab is basically cut through blocks and other things and then just chuck somebody on the floor and then just use the water circle or drop a meteor. On to the Valkyrie. Valkyrie is a class that I played already. It's kind of like a standalone class. It is pretty much the tankiest class of them all next to Berserker in terms of just defense power, but Berserker has much more sustain because of that health regeneration of like 350 HP a second kind of thing and a lot more grapples, so Berserker is kind of like more heavily weighted because of that. Valk is just more so on defense. You can also spec her to be all AP as well, and then you just be a Valkyrie bomb and jump into a crowd of people and they'll just all drop. Because the AoE and the 100% jump hits extremely hard, and it also positions you right inside a group, and it'll knock down people too if you hit them. On top of that, you get 20 AP bonus when that happens for a good 10 seconds, so you also boost your strength even further. So, you know, you can be Glass Cannon Valk and destroy people, and then if you need to get out, use an Elion's Blessing and run away, and you'll have like 6 seconds invulnerability to kind of exit. You know, there's just some methods of playing. So Valkyrie also has a lot of CC chain as well. Not so much as the Berserker where you can just grab, but Valkyrie is good at stopping people down on the floor. Also has the strongest block in the game. So if you're more of the defense or tank turtle class, Valkyrie is one of the ways to go. And then finally, we've got the Kuno and the Ninja. The Kuno is lacking on mobility. It's one of the classes I've played the most right now. Kuno is more of like a CC net. She's got a decent damage and she's probably one of the highest AP damage users available. Like you can boost your AP by about plus 50, I think, just from skills alone. If you stack them together, Rage and the Awakening buff, so it's 30 and 20, so you get 50 AP. But the other thing is her attack ratios are generally pretty low, so I've experienced that I've had quite a bit of trouble killing people with the Kuno compared to my Valk or my Tamer. But the AoE and the amount of CC that she has is huge. You can either be hyper annoying, which what I was trying to do was build a DP build. So because her spin has a lot of lifesteal, it's 50 HP a hit, and if you go into a crowd, your bar basically goes down and goes all the way back up. And then you can either just shift Q or invisible out and just continuously CC harass people. It's also really good against in huge scale PvP because the Kuno has huge nets of AoE. It's hard for the desync to actually get into play like a lag shield for most cases. So the Kuno's AoE is you just toss it in the air where you think the guy is going to be, and next thing you know, they're most likely stunned on the spot, and then you just walk over and just annihilate the person. I haven't had much experience seeing very many ninjas in play or fought against them. All I know is that they have a high amount of burst as well. They're basically assassins, pretty much. I mean, they are called ninjas. So they wield six katanas or something, 6 swords. And their biggest burst is like this overhead chop thing, and it's supposed to blow people away, and it happens quite frequently. They're very good on 1v1. I don't think they're too good on huge mass scale fights, so they're more of like people who pick out like certain targets in a war. I feel would be that class. I could be wrong, but you know, again, these are just my opinions, and there's not, you know, I haven't experienced everything. There's still too much in this game to do. Tamer, finally. This class is, I find this class to be pretty quick. I've heard a lot of negative like, you know, opinions about it, and this is why I'm drawn to it. I generally like playing the unpopular classes or like weak classes and see what I can do with them. If I wanted to play an OP class, it would just be playing the most popular classes, which generally revolve around Berserker, Ranger, Sorceress, Wizard, Witch, and Warrior. And then the other 5 classes are barely seen. One way to easily figure that out is actually just checking the marketplace. When you look at the marketplace and you look at the number of dandelion weapons sold, Witch Spheres have been sold like crazy, even though they're like one of the last classes shown in Awakening, and Tamer is one of the most unpopular classes because the amount of Celestial Bull Staffs that have been sold are very, very low. So that's one way you can figure it out for yourself. I mean, if you want to play for a popular class or you want to play for a playstyle, I highly recommend that you play a class that you enjoy, because ultimately the grind does become very long at later levels, and you will have to commit to that character, otherwise you might not enable certain skills when you get to a certain level. Because at 56 Awakening, every next level you unlock like a new kind of skill combo flow with your current skill set package. So that's why I always, you know, suggest I'm playing a Tamer because I actually really enjoy it. And on top of the negative stigma that it's gotten, I still think it's a great class. The Tamer, for instance, the unique feature about her is she's kind of more geared towards PvE, I guess, and in some sense. But in PvP, she's also great 1v1. The pet itself allows for a double aggro limit, so the base aggro limit for all the other classes is 8. You can only hit 8 mobs at a time or kite 8 mobs, whereas with the Tamer you can have 16. So you can kill twice the amount of mobs that solo people grinding cannot. unless you are all in a party. Tamers, on the other hand, they have a pretty great boost as well. They can absorb their pet for a good 60 seconds and recall it out during that 60 seconds to have 10 attack, 8 defense, 20% move speed, 20% attack speed animation up, and 60% crit or something. That's a huge boost. I don't know why people say the class is kind of trash. It's just that it lacks a lot of huge AoE, but it's got some decent miniature AoE, and it has a lot of single wipeout potential. From what I've experienced, the Tamer can actually stay on somebody quite heavily for a long period of time and do constant DPS. Not really a burst class. I would say it's more or less like you can wear down your enemy really quickly, and as long as you stay on top of them, they will go down. The other notable feature is that you can ride your pet, but it's not as good as a horse, but you can use that to jump off cliffs kind of thing and just, you know, make shortcuts, or you can ride it and just charge through people on your horse and slow people in a huge AoE just by running through things. That's really annoying in a huge war. Just instant excel through a group of people with the Heilang roar and pre-awakening, and it'll just minus move speed slow on everybody that gets hit by it by 30% for 10 seconds. Hyper annoying. I've experienced it myself, and I'm like, this is the most annoying Tamer I've ever fought. And they're also really hard to catch. They have a lot of invincible jump, and in the bow staff they have invincible sidestep, and it's pretty long duration compared to most other classes I've experienced. Examples are more like I've sidestepped into a meteor by accident and it didn't even hit me. So, you know, give or take, all the classes have a strength to them, and that's the gist of that. And of course there's also the Dark Knight coming, but I no experience about that, so I can't really comment upon it. Perhaps something about it later. More armor stones. What do you like? What do you... Oh, a sharp bundle. Okay. What do you like? What are you selling? Selling armor stones. A tree spirit belt, but it's 27 mil in the market. Why would I buy it for that much?